team, how you all kind of found the story and why you decided to tell this story. Also, maybe mention how the state of the film industry in Zimbabwe might be as you were going into this project.
Gosh, there's a big part of that, right? So the film came about because the show Battle of the Chefs actually exists in Harare. It's a real-life TV show, and I was working on the show and had this idea that basically, well, I'm more interested in making films than I am in making television. And I had an idea to leverage and use the set and all the cool stuff that we had for the TV show and write a story, make a film around that, about a fictitious underdog character. And so a couple of people from the real life show then became part of the film. My cinematographer, Sebastian, also is the cinematographer of the TV show. And in fact, the presenter, Zitlo, is the real life presenter of the TV show. She plays herself. And the chief judge on the real show was our food designer. So he cooked all the food, which you see in the film. But basically the story came about because, in answer to your second question, I guess, the state of things in Zim, well then and continuing up to now, is not great. We made this film in the last days of Mugabe. We were, like everyone else, I guess, quite excited for things to possibly turn in a different direction after that. But that's not happened. But when we made this film, we basically we made the film that you just watched with $8,000. So we kind of we just had to leverage everything that we had and try and make something good, because we knew, like in our hearts, that we have the talent, we have good actors, we have good crew, we have equipment. You can make a film for cheap these days. So this is not my work alone. There's the whole list of names that we made you sit through to the end by putting that one little scene at the end. Those are all the people whose hard work helped make this film possible. And without that team, we simply couldn't have done it. That's a long-winded answer, but I hope that's yeah.
That's excellent. Okay, I will open the questions up to the room. You can just raise your hand and shout if you have a question. If not, take it. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Not saying dollars, no.
In the synopsis of the film was described as a post-Mugabe film. So during the Mugabe time, was there censorship of films, or what's the essence of telling this post-Mugabe film? Because I feel like it's not politically driven.
No, it's not politically driven. I mean, to be honest, the driving force behind the narrative of the story was more, I could say, look, it's affected us as filmmakers in Zim. I'm sure the same way it affects you in Kenya. We've kind of become really, really tired of this kind of Hollywood narrative of Africa that paints us as always in poverty and starving warlords, and it's always something terrible. So whilst not pretending that that's not the case, I mean, very much you can see these are not rich people in the story that we wrote about, the film that we made. It's real life, but this is what our real life is more like. You know what I mean? We don't lose hope. We're still trying to make the best of the situation. We're still trying to do whatever to make a good life and I don't know, fall in love and do all those regular things. So we really wanted to make a film that just showed that, we in Zimbabwe, the same as everyone in Africa, are just normal, regular people. We shouldn't be looked at as something different. In regards to the kind of title, I guess, literally we were the first Zimbabwean film to be released. It's just so happened that we were shooting this film in the last days of Mugabe. So there was a lot of unrest in Harare. The girl who played Liliane Fungai, who's an amazing actress, she's actually not mean at all in real life. She's really nice. But she actually got tear gassed, like accidentally in a matatu on the way to set. And we had to like postpone 2 days of shooting because there were riots in town and the riot police had gotten out of hand with the protesters and stuff. All this stuff was going on whilst we were making the film. In answer to your question about 8,000 US dollars, yes, that's the money that we had to make it, but also just understanding that the kind of economic problems which have been happening in Zim. So one of the daily problems that our producer had to deal with was getting change so that he could give everybody transport money to go home and come back the next day. Because at that stage in Zim's economic history, we're still buying money, but we were buying money then. It was a kind of different way of doing it. So literally, you can have money in your bank account, but you can't swipe on a matatu. You need cash. So you'd have to buy cash at a premium from dealers who would, take your swipe money and give you real cash. These were the kind of things that was going on in the last days of Mugabe's version of Zimbabwe. We thought we were going to be in 2.0 now. We're more like version 1.9, but hopefully 2.0 is any time from now. So I don't know, sorry, another long-winded answer, but I hope that kind of answers your question. Yes?
So my question was, I really love the movie, but I'm really concerned that like Zimbabwe was going through a lot of stuff in that time that they were making the movie, but none of it is reflected in any way. We don't see people who are having problems getting money or. So I don't know. Do you think that you really did the job you're trying to achieve? Because you can do a love story without having to not have any of those other issues.
Gosh, that's a good question.
Did you get a question?
So the question was like, all the stuff that I'm talking about that was going on whilst we were making the film, we didn't include. It wasn't part of the, of the background of the story. You don't see, the film crew struggling to get money for people, in the TV show or anything like that. So did we really set out, with what we tried to do? Gosh, I don't know. I think, to be honest, there's a certain level of fatigue that I personally have with the Zimbabwean situation. We've been maybe since the late 90s, into the early 2000s is when our kind of like economic and political problems and stuff really became like hectic. So we're coming on for 20 years now. That this has been just an ongoing daily struggle. I think maybe we glossed over some of that stuff in just wanting to present ourselves to the world as normal. Maybe we left out some of the weird parts of Zimbabwean living. But we put a power cut. We just made it romantic.
Just a comment to add on to that, and also the question that had come earlier, is I felt like it was also a big thing to congratulate you and the whole team for in making an optimistic story while all of these things are happening in your country, because also as a Kenyan we go through a lot, but we're more than our politics, and I think cinema gives us a lot of room to explore things like love. It doesn't have to be love in the middle of a riot, because the riots still happen. But I think you created something that lived past a political movement. It will live because it tells a universal human story. And I just want to congratulate you on that again. Yes, another question back there?
First of all, great movie. And also thank you for trying to portray Africa as a different narrative of poverty. So the book was actually quite good, but I wanted to ask, you mentioned in the beginning of the show that there's some stuff that you cut out in your set. So what did you miss?
you see now, when we bring out the DVD, these will be the deleted scenes. This is what I'm learning all about this. This is all marketing, dude. No, so funny, it's what you realize. I mean, actually, so I've been involved in the edit, like the first time around and the second time that we cut it down. The first time around it was much more difficult for me as a filmmaker, because I wrote the film and I directed it as well, to kind of like, you know, be really brutal and just cut out whole sections and whole scenes and stuff. But the film running time was pushing, it wasn't quite, but it was nearly 2 hours, the original cut of the film. And the kind of reactions we got from audiences, they really loved it, but they just felt it was a bit long. And so going back and looking at the story, we realized that there were some scenes, some really funny scenes that you will see in the deleted scenes on the DVD, but that didn't push the story forward. And so in cutting those scenes out, when you watch the film, the story is exactly the same. The narrative doesn't change. There's kind of like small details about some of the cameo characters, the other chefs that you see in the TV show, that we just, okay, we've shown quite a lot of the TV show in the film. We don't need to have all those scenes, and some of them are not giving us, as an audience, new information. So, you know, to try and keep the story, keep the pace of the story moving. Because, I mean, that was something quite deliberate from the writing, even from that stage, is that I tried to write in this kind of more modern style, where you have a lot of very short scenes, so that the story keeps moving and you keep finding out the next thing and the next thing, and not so many, I mean, the longer scenes I tended to leave for when there's something really, you know, emotional going on, that then allows the actors and allows the audience to appreciate that emotion. For instance, with the reunion, you know, the kind of reconciliation with the mom right at the end, because we felt that was like the emotional heart of the story, more so than the competition. So those are the kind of things that we cut out. But yeah, there's some really funny scenes that I had to just let go, because that's filmmaking.
All right, maybe we can take two more questions.
Hi.
Hi.
It's not a question actually, it's a comment. I grew up in Zimbabwe and I was just there like 2-3 weeks ago. And I go pick up my nieces and nephews from school in this really, really tough environment. And the schools were always so lovely and the kids were always doing all those great, you know, activities that you were showing. So that really touched me, because for me that's really my Zimbabwe. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for that, and that was a fantastic movie.
Thank you so much.
One last one? Between the two?
No, my also comment, actually, I think what you showed us is pretty currently relevant in the space of cinema, especially when it comes to it's actually reality TV is very big in Southern Africa, so I'm glad that you brought that in terms of filmmaking. So it's just a good idea. I thought it was weird when it comes to the synopsis. I was like, okay, you can show one of this. So I'm glad that you brought up something that's both relevant in terms of what we're seeing in media and also what we like to watch, like rom-coms and stuff like that. So thank you for marking that and bringing that to us.
All right. And I think, unless there's one other person. Okay, two questions.
So, what is the reception of the film in Zimbabwe?
The reception of the film in Zim has been really good. I would be underplaying it if I said it hasn't been already a very, very popular film. I mean, it's only been screened at a couple of festivals and a few small screenings that we did, including the very first screening we did in Zim. We built our own cinema. So we had on the roof of a hotel, we set up a projector with a sheet and a PA system. So that was the very first audience that got to watch the movie. Since then, we won 2 Best Film Awards at the Zimbabwean Film Festival and the National Art Merit Awards, which we have. And Tendai Chitima, who plays Anesu, also won Best Actress at both of those. event. So yeah, I can honestly say the film has been really well received in Zimbabwe. Thanks.
Okay, one last question over there.
My question is on the music. It's in the background to the story. And who was the genius behind that? Because it's, for me, it's one of the dangerous musical across it was nice to get colors on that.
Oh, wow, thanks. So the soundtrack, very deliberately, is all Zimbabwean artists. But we also felt like, okay, so there's like a generic Afrobeat kind of music, which if Hollywood's making a film, you know, you get that, I don't know, that certain something that they yeah, there's a bit of African music, we'll throw that in there. And we felt like, no, in Zim we've actually got a lot of different stuff. We've got hip-hop, we've got rock, yes, we've still got, you know, that more Sungura, we would call it, style of music. But, you know, we wanted to really showcase, like, that we have a whole range of stuff in Zim. So, yeah, it's, I mean, I pushed for that a lot. I snuck my own song there. The very last song that you hear in the credits is from my own band in Zimbabwe as well. So, but that's, you know, just a sneaky director privilege, I think.
Excellent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's appreciate Thomas one more time.